And welcome back. Still watching Eye on Politics is 3 minutes past 8. We are going on with the program. And now just welcome our next analyst, who is a presidential candidate right now and former running mate in 2017. That is Muthiora Kariara on the other side of studio. Muthiora, just welcome you. Good morning.
Good morning, Victor.
Absolutely. I hope you had a fantastic weekend.
I did. It's been a difficult week, but I thank God that I'm here finally.
Yes.
And first things first, there were declarations made about people not politicking in church.
Yes.
But then we've seen those people who said that they would not politic in church take advantage of the same platform.
And actually, you're just on the right track, because that's what we've been discussing. Because we saw it happen over the weekend.
And it should be called out,
right?
Because it is not polite, it is not right. We said, let's leave the church to do what the church was established to do, because as a fledgling society, one that's going into a very heated political season, we will need the church. So we should cleanse that space and let it be used only for the purpose for which it was intended. And personally, I would like to call out a church that is now setting a trend, and that's PCA. Last weekend, they were the first to breach what other churches are trying to do. And this weekend, they carried it forward together with other churches. I would wish they take a step back and only use the pulpit to teach the flock, and not to allow politicians to pass their political messages. And for your information, your favorite politician does not come to church to worship. They come there to make political noise.
But the question is, do you listen? You are a politician. Do you listen?
Victor, I will never be seen at the pulpit making a political statement. I have gone to church to worship. I have gone to church to praise. I have danced in church. I will dance for the Lord. But I will not use that space to propagate politics, because that's selfish, that's narrow, and it should not be allowed to continue.
Let me bring in Jerry here. Jerry, you are a politician. You are a communication strategist. You are a journalist, and you've seen this happening over the years. A quick one. Do politicians really understand?
Victor, you see, what Mheshimiwa is talking about is the ideal situation. But unfortunately, it won't work. If he goes with that kind of attitude to the ground, he's going to fail. He's going to fail, because that's not what people really are used to. Sometimes,
did you hear that? That's an ideal situation. And,
I wish we dissuade ourselves from accepting that, because
perhaps
just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean it is right.
Let him finish his statement.
So let me finish my statement. Is that I will support Mheshimiwa in that ideal kind of situation. But politicians are swayed with crowds. Once you get a crowd, you just feel like you want to say something. And then here you are in a free crowd that you don't pay for anything. Everything is catered for. The only thing that you need to do is probably give you a small donation at the end of it. And you want to tell me that I'm seeing a crowd, or he's seeing a crowd, and he sings and dances and leaves without saying anything.
So you support the issue of politics in church?
I don't support the issue. I'm saying is that politicians are welcome to the church. What we are saying is that we don't accept and we don't encourage the abuse of the pulpit, where you go to the pulpit and you start saying things about your opponent that are not correct, or things that probably would have said them out there. You see, and Mheshimiwa is right by saying that let's leave the church do what it was meant to do. The church was meant to give us spiritual nourishment. If a politician can also use the same pulpit to give us spiritual nourishment, then it's okay. We have politicians who are pastors. Remember Pastor, the presidential pastor, was it Kunanuru Gizani?
Pius
Muiru. He is a pastor And
we have got Margaret Wanjiru.
Do you stop them from going to pulpit because now they are politicians and they are pastors? What's the thin line do you separate them from?
Yeah.
Okay? You can't tell Margaret Wanjiru that now, this is your church, yes, this is the audience that normally comes here. Now, when you're here, don't talk politics.
Okay. Munyao is like a spirit, because the way he's putting it, you cannot go to a church, you're a politician, and everything is ready for you. So it's like a spirit.
I think basically, I think basically also we shouldn't demonize politicians so much, because at the end of the day, there are some things we communicate that the community needs to hear. For example, I'll go to church. I will have maybe a message from the government, and it's a fundraising.
That is an excuse, Waititu.
It is not an excuse.
It's not.
You know,
it's not.
At the end
That's
of the
an
day,
excuse.
when we were running the constituency in Juja,
yes,
I will go and talk to the youth about Uwezo Fund.
Why don't you get your own meeting?
How Sunday is the best day where everyone is free. On Monday they are border riders. On Tuesday others are teachers. But on Sunday, that is when you'll deliver to them. On top of that, the church will ask you questions.
But
the church
as
will
a constituency, you have all the tools to organize for a meeting with the constituents.
You know, you'll be seated there and mchungaji will openly ask, Mheshimiwa barabara yetu, you know, and you'll stand there and give them progress. What we are saying is politicians, in Swahili wajita kamkutano, we stop having politics that are immature in church, because at the end of the day, you'll talk to the congregation, you'll tell them what you can deliver to them, you'll give them even good news. You know, some of us are religious. I have a Bible verse to quote.
Muthiora, did you hear that? You can't afford, or you can't avoid talking to the politicians. I mean, it's just free for all now in churches.
Which is wrong. And we must resist the temptation to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
Well, according to our law, those who work for the government and intend to run in the forthcoming election are supposed to resign by February next year.
Yes.
That's to pave way for a tidy race where we do not have a mix-up of issues. So if you're a pastor and you want to get involved in politics, you should resign and get into politics proper and do that which other people are doing.
Yeah.
What I mean to say is we have different crafts. When we go to church, we have fishermen, we have carpenters, we have politicians, we have doctors, we have nurses. It is wrong to uplift one profession and give them the podium when others are in the same auditorium, in the same audience, in the same congregation. It is wrong. Let our Father's house be used for prayer. That's all I'm trying to say.
That's what you're trying to say.
But
yes.
you know, Mheshimiwa is making it look like when you become a politician, you have now become a demon. You know, at the end of the day, it is nothing bad. You know, if you're going to church, if you're a pastor, you don't have to resign. Who do you think will preach for those 6 months? You'll be campaigning. You know,
Muthiora, are you trying to demonize? Because what you're saying that you're trying to
I'm not demonizing. I'm just saying there are people who are supposed to play different roles.
Yes.
And there are institutions that are supposed to do the same. We let the church be the institution it was built to be. We let politics be performed for the purpose for which it was intended. And that was to empower the people. Currently, what the politicians are doing is hoodwinking the people using that very narrow window on Sunday, because that opportunity is almost free.
Jerry.
I am a political person who Monday to Monday practices. So I do not need to wait for a day when it is cheaper for me to do so. The policies I have got, I have to try and find a way to get them out there to the people.
Okay.
And because I respect and love my God, I have to respect the place where I go to worship him.
Okay, Jerry, he's saying that it's a cheaper way of addressing your issues, and politicians get it as a very narrow window to articulate their issues.
Of course.
An accusation.
Victor, of course, it's true. It's a cheaper way of addressing our issues.
Yes.
You know, when we start looking at the history of church and politics, when the missionaries came, it was just the missionaries, they had their own churches, and then Africans started having their own small, what the missionaries called sects. That's when we started having, independent kind of churches coming out. So that's where the politics started, the politics of the church and politics, a church and the politics.
Yes.
So some of the best politicians came from church. So you don't stop me as a grandson of a church leader. Now to stop saying that I'm not going to accompany my grandfather to the church because I will be tempted to talk politics. The thing is, when you want to go, let's say, for any elective position, you will try to mobilize a number of people.
Right.
And one of the people one of the groups that you will try to mobilize is church leaders. Why do you mobilize church leaders? To come so that you can talk to them, so that they can introduce you to their church. And they'll tell you that on Sunday I'll be having a small Arambe come. Now, do you just go and say that I'm coming and I don't want to talk politics? There's destructive kind of politics, and there's development kind of politics, where you are talking about issues that affect the people.
Yes.
As a politician, if I meet this kind of group, one of the issues that is in our constitution is public participation. That is part of public participation, because you're going to ask them, okay, fine, here this area is called Uhui, or this area is called Sikalame, or this area is called Muthiora. When I was coming, the road wasn't so good. What do you think that if you elect me, then I'm going to fix this road? They're going to tell you, no, that's not a priority. Probably you can give us something else.
Yes.
So when you come out of that kind of discussion and grouping, you're going to have something that in mind, that once elected, that's what I'm going to fix first, because they told me that that's what they want.
Yes.
What Mheshimiwa, I'm trying to take Mheshimiwa out of it, is to try and make me feel guilty about meeting my constituents who are Christian or Muslims. So wherever I meet them, as long as we are not talking issues to do with demonizing the other. Somebody
will ask you, why don't you organize for your own rally or talk to them out there after the service?
After the service.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying, is that politics is relatively expensive. And any opportunity that gives itself to a politician will grab. And that is one of the areas that politicians grab. I'm not saying that for me, I rely on church politics only, or rely on church pulpit alone. There's some other things that I organize that probably Mheshimiwa will not see. But Mheshimiwa will see.
So let me put it this way to Martin. Martin, it means that now politicians are opportunists.
No, politicians are not opportunists.
But that is the situation, because according to Jerry, ready-made crowd, you have all the microphones set, you have everybody, your constituents are seated and quietly waiting for you to talk to them. So you are opportunists.
No, we are not opportunists. And why we are not able to talk to the crowd after church is because, unlike Muslims who have a 1 hour or 2 hour program and no other program after that, you'll find, like, for example, in our church, St. Augustine, we have 3 masses. So from 9 to 10, as others are coming in, others are moving out. You cannot be able to sit outside there, and after every crowd moves out, you call them, gather them to talk to them. You see? So when those people are seated, that is when they are ready to consume the information you have. You see? So at the end of the day, what we should be against is issues to do with starting to undress each other in front of the church. Right. So if you're going to tell the people what you're going to do to them, give them that direct message. The same church takes that opportunity to tell you of a less privileged child. When you start now planning how to give that child bursary, you're told of a less privileged person in church, maybe the house burnt down, what the church is planning. It is like a community. And at the end of the day, you cannot separate religion and authority, and religion and politics.
Muthiora, now, is there any end on sight to all this?
An end will arise when we all agree that we need for the church to stand up and provide the spiritual nourishment for which it was established. It should not be a place where seeds of discord and disharmony are sowed, like we have seen before. And it's going even further, where people are amending the Bible and saying what the Bible is not saying, directly or indirectly. So difficult as times are for Kenyans today, we must make it possible for them to have a place of refuge, a place they can look up to, so that at the end of the week, they can go and find some peace and tranquility, and even believe in the leadership that comes from the church. Otherwise, if we continue to allow our politicians to overrun our churches, our society is not going to have a very good mental health, I should say, let alone spiritual health. And we need that very much as a nation.
Jerry, what's your take on that?
Mheshimiwa, I like how you talk. I like how you put your things out. Mheshimiwa is being elitist in this whole conversation.
Right.
The thing is that there's nothing wrong. What kind of politics are you talking about? Are you building the people or are you destroying the people? You know, politics is all about convincing that person otherwise. So if you go to a church and you have been given an opportunity to speak to your people, to make them think otherwise on issues to do with maybe drug abuse. You are meeting a youthful kind of crowd in the church and you're talking about drug abuse and substance and things like that. Does that make you a demon? That does make you now a very bad person to be in charge to talk about drugs and substance abuse? It doesn't. The thing is that if you really want to be as clean as Mheshimiwa wants us to believe, then politics won't be for you. And in this case, we are not saying that we are supporting.
Have you just confirmed that politics is dirty?
Of course,
on a national broadcast.
Politics, let's not be so, you know, politics is dirty.
Yes.
It's all about interest.
All right.
If we come on the table here right now, the issue will be, what are you bringing on my side and what am I giving you on your side? It's not necessarily to be something that is evil. Probably I need a road and you need a classroom. So let's negotiate on how we're going to have this kind of things be developed. If you want a road and I want a school, let's negotiate. But you don't come to me and you're telling me that you want a school, you want a road, you want everything, and you're going to leave me there just seated. That is now political speaking.
Yes.
But if we're just like talking other issues as friends, then I can forgo some other things. But when we're talking politics, then you can't have 100% everything and you leave me with zero. And that's why I'm saying that we are in agreement with Mheshimiwa that let us not abuse the pulpit. That one we're in agreement.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, if you are given opportunity to educate somebody to change their mind over something that you feel is not right, then use it. Again, I'll just disagree kidogo with my friend. Politicians are opportunists. At least I am. I'm an opportunist. I'll take every opportunity given to me to say what I want to say,
so
and to convince at least one
person. You completely absolved Muthiora from his accusations. He's admitted.
Let me ask you, Victor.
Yes.
Right now, this is an opportunity that you gave me. If I was to say I'm not coming, I would have lost an opportunity to talk to my young fellow youth that being in politics is not a bad thing.
Yes.
Why do you want to make me look so bad when I'm talking politics? Why do you want to make me be so good when I'm talking religious? All these people that are talking religion, who say that they're going to be opened the gates of heaven? Most of them are hypocrites. So why should we be saying that, oh, because he's talking so good about the Bible, he's so good?
Okay. So where's now the thin line between politics and church, Martin? And what is the role of church in shaping our politics in the country?
You know, as I said earlier, we cannot separate politics and church.
Yes.
And that is why even in the structure of government, everywhere government is touching any project, there has to be a slot for religious leaders. That one is given. Even in the council of the DCC, the security committee, all that, there has to be space for a religious leader. That is why even when you're having public barazas, a religious leader has to talk. So these two things cannot be separated. So what we are saying is the thin line is what we get from our mouth to deliver to the people.
All right.
You see, and we cannot say that because a certain member of parliament or a certain politician said this, it's exactly what I'm going to say. Because at the end of the day, you have not had any complaints from Juja. or from Siaya. Otherwise, you'd be telling me, you said this last time, you see. So I think what we should do is continue telling other politicians, please ensure whatever you're saying in front of the church, you have thought twice about it.
All right. So, gentlemen, allow me just to leave that at that point. The issue of youth and politics, it's quite obvious that most of the politicians, more so the presidential frontrunners, starting with you, Muthiora Kariara here, you are banking majorly on the youth.
Because they form the biggest chunk of our population.
Absolutely. Yes.
And voters. And number two, they hold the aspirations of this nation. The future, the promise of Kenya, it lies with the youth. Personally, I'm hoping that this time the Kenyan youth will use their ability to reason and to believe in themselves that there is power in their vote and that their vote counts and that the jobs they have been crying out for can be delivered if they cast that vote correctly. It's possible that if the youth came together and elected a leader that's committed, not just in words, but also in character and vision to deliver on their promises, we can have a great nation. The youth are important, and they will play a huge role in the next election. And I'm asking the ones on this panel today to not look in the people we have had before, because those people form the problem that we are trying to fix today. They cannot be part of the solution. As they fronted themselves for election, I would wish for them to not say electors, but then we are supporting a certain candidate who is not in the bracket. Let us be in solidarity from the bottom all the way up.
Jerry, what's this fascination about the youth?
Being a youth in Kenya,
all politicians are not talking about, I'm going to do this to the youth. Actually, the most important thing is employment.
Victor, being a youth in Kenya is a tragedy.
Wow,
it's a tragedy because every time you wake up in the morning and you are going to town, you're not sure if you're going to come back. There are so many challenges that are facing the youth. You're not sure if you know the people that you left back home will ever see you again, because you're going out there, you're going to face, police is going to arrest you, we have seen extrajudicial killings when the youths are being killed and things like that. And these are things that probably youth needs to consider when they're thinking of a leader, because we have not, up to this moment, we have not seen a very strong voice from the government coming out to even talk on behalf of youth. They give us good narratives and good kind of write-ups about how to take care of the youth. But these guys, they've been there for almost 32 years. They're still in government. Talk of His Excellency, Kalonzo Musyoka. He's been there for a very long time. Talk about Mudavadi. He's been there for a very long time. Talk of His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga. He's been there for a long time. This same narrative where you plaque CORD manifesto, put it in NAC manifesto, NAC manifesto, put it in Jubilee manifesto, the same narrative. But are they really implementing those issues to take care of the youth? They're not. It's good that Mheshimiwa is a youthful kind of leader and he's going for presidency. But I'm not going to vote for him because he's youth. He might be 34 today and tomorrow is 35. Or he might be 35 today, he's going to 36. He cuts off the constitutional youth bracket. That does stop everything and changes his kind of thinking about the youth. It doesn't. But I'm going to vote for him because the way he's going to convince me that he's going to take care of my need as a youth. You see, this aspect that we are going to vote because of groupings, that let's vote for me because I was a teacher, or vote for me because I'm elderly, or vote for me because I'm a youth. That's not going to work. What's going to work is practicality. What practical message are you coming to tell me that you're going to put across? You know, sometimes you can come with a very good write-up that you don't even understand yourself. That you got some consultant, wrote for you a good manifesto and tells you now go cram this, You and me, we've been in theater. Remember back in the days, we shared the same stage with you.
Yeah.
We could cram the entire book, okay? The entire Merchant of Venice.
Merchant of Venice.
And then we come there and we put it across.
Jerry, we just offered something that many...
and this is a consultant that has given you, but you don't understand what you're putting on.
Jerry, you didn't have to say that.
So you see,
the traveling theater, right?
So Victor, you see, what I'm saying is that we have so many good politicians out there that don't understand what they're telling us. How practical is it? When you tell me that you're going to give me A, B, C, D, is it practical? Is it something that is going to answer to my need down in the village in Sia? So this time round, I agree. Youth make 80% of the entire population.
Yeah.
And if they use their energy and power and zeal, then we can change this nation.
Let me bring you, Martin.
Yes.
The way he's putting it is that, okay, generally 80% of the voters come next general election. We are yet to see that register because mass voter registration starts next week. Thereafter, the cleanup will happen and all that. Then we have the final number of the registered voters, youth more specifically. But then he said one thing here, that youths are not conditioned to vote for ideologies and good stories and good and, most of the, let me just put it this way, that most of the youth are conditioned to vote based on what you're telling me and promises. Is that the situation?
Basically, I believe youth this time round, we are the biggest population when it comes to the country and globally. So I'm thinking these people who have been there since a time immemorial have now become worn out. And I love what the Ministry of Internal is doing. This is where we are finding ACCs being 30 years old.
Yeah.
They are recruiting, you're finding an OCS who is about 27 years old, which was not happening before. Until you are very old in the system, that is when you could get to a better position. So I am thinking, even if it is Kiambu, where I come from, we should stop recycling this. The other day I saw Waititu in Kiambu saying he's coming back in 2022. And I'm thinking, what are you coming to do? I have nothing against Waititu. But I think it is
democracy. It's democracy.
No. But we kicked Waititu out. And then you're coming back to tell us, oh, you kicked me out, now I have come back, and now I even understand the youth better, and I have the youth at heart. Yet when you were there, you did not have us at heart. So I'm thinking it is time we as youth embrace going for these positions, you see? And that is why I love the idea that Mheshimiwa is vying for the presidency.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, Mheshimiwa should not vie for presidency by saying I am a youth, that simply because I am a youth, you should elect me. You see? We also need people who can fight for us. We need someone who can open those doors. These things should be implemented in all the ministries. You're finding head teachers in schools. I have nothing against teachers, but you're finding head teachers who are 65 years old. What are you doing there? Yet you have a youthful person who is a teacher who can get promoted to become a head teacher and come up with new ideas. Now we are having to retrain the old people to go back.
Let me be an advocate, a devil's advocate. You're talking of, you're finding some, quote unquote, some old guys still holding these positions.
Yes.
What's stopping the youth from just getting into that murky water and into politics and just battle it out with the, with the fellow men and women and get those positions? What stops you?
But we've been choked. If you're going to get a position, those positions you're talking about, then there should be our kind who are running those positions. You see, because at the end of the day, if I find my brother here in the Ministry of Education, then definitely I'll get a promotion. But the one sitting in the Ministry of Education is 65 years old, went to school with another 65-year-old, then they are speaking the same language. That is why we are saying it is time, especially 2022. We should have very many youths going for those very many positions so that now we can start speaking with one voice.
Okay, Muthiora, they are saying that you are going for the top seat, but they will not vote for you because you're a youth. They want actionable, how do you call it? Actionable plans and manifesto and ideas.
And they are right to demand that. And based on the discussion we are having right now, what most people do not understand is that the youth agenda is not a single bullet kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's actually three-pronged. And to adequately address it, you would first need to do youth empowerment. You would then need to do proper youth representation, and then you'd have a proper structure of governance and policy for it all to come together so we can have the youth agenda as has been envisioned for this nation. Now, as I get my message out there, I'm basically telling Kenyans that, yes, I may be young, but it's not what I am offering. What I'm offering is the passion, the enthusiasm, the energy. I have the expertise and the knowledge. I have interacted with Kenyans' problems. And unlike the politicians we currently have who are describing our problems instead of providing solutions, because some of them hold offices today. Well, I'm one.
Okay, let me put it this way. Perhaps politicians are talking about the youth because they are vulnerable. Right now, just over the weekend, thousands of students graduated from the university, okay? And more are yet to come. Now you can look at the job market. 10,000, 15,000 students graduate, and they're all looking at the ministries to get white-collar jobs. And perhaps politicians are taking advantage and riding on that aspect of, youth are now vulnerable, but one thing they want and they talk about is we are going to provide for them jobs.
Yes, and it's been said on this show today that politicians are opportunists. So what they are doing is taking advantage of the vulnerability of the youth. But we can clearly see through their games, through their deceit. And I'm hoping that our hunger for a different Kenya will get us to remain sober enough to the ballot so we can make the right decision.
Okay, so what should change? Because, Jerry, Muthiora is saying that politicians are taking advantage. And by the way, a majority of voters, at least for now, until we get the next record from the IEBC, they form a bigger chunk of the voters come 2022. So what should youths do to make their voices heard politically?
Victor, if you just allow me to buttress the point I was making.
Right.
The problem we have with the Kenyan youth mostly is that they are not politically engaged. So the first step we should do is to encourage each other to
hold on to that thought. I'll come back to you. Maybe Jerry can take on that.
Okay.
Right.
Kenyan youth are the most engaged politically speaking.
Correct.
They're the most engaged politically speaking.
How?
When you look at the political rallies that happen across the country, most of them are not the elderly that goes there. They're the youth. But as we are putting it, is that politicians tend to take advantage of the youth because they are joblessness.
Yes.
You see, if you're committed to your job, like right now you are here, and there's a rally going out there, you won't go. But you'll find that people who go there maybe are idle. They don't have something to do. And that's where the politicians take advantage. Not that the politicians believe that these youth are going to vote for them. And by the way, it doesn't mean that if you see a big crowd in somebody's camp, it's going to result to voting bloc. Some of them, they just go there to, for curiosity purposes.
Yes.
I've heard about Ruto, I've heard about Raila, I've heard about Kalonzo, but I've never seen them.
Let me go there and see.
And I'm here now. So let me go and see.
Ama kuna kakitu atato. That's the mindset?
That's the mindset. So let's go there. The thing, what probably we need to do is to change the conversation that any youth who is going to for political seat as a way of employment is going to lose. Because Kenya politics is very expensive. Here you are from probably, you've just graduated, and because you are so much into social media, and you're a blogger in social media, you believe that maybe you can convince somebody in the village. And then now you go. And you find probably a teacher who's worked for almost 40 years. He has some properties that he can sell and put it into campaign. And here you are, you want to vie with nothing as your first employment. You're going to fail. You see, Mheshimiwa here vied for presidency that time, see that, right?
The running mate in 2017.
Running mate. He was a youth. I was expecting to see him in Siaya.
He still is.
And he still is. I was
Still
expecting him as a youthful presidential candidate or deputy president candidate to come and talk to the youth down there and tell us that, hey, man, I'm a youth. These are my practical observation and these are my practical kind of thinking. Maybe we can go across and walk with you guys as youth.
Yeah.
I never saw him down there. Why? Probably because financial issues, but if any case he was very much endowed financially, probably he will run with the helicopter just like the other candidates. But maybe he would want to come to Siaya, but he couldn't make it there to go across the country because of financial issues.
Yes.
So however much we are supporting the youth, we also need to look at what are the bottlenecks that have been put to us so that we don't get there. I would really wish to see and to relate with Mheshimiwa as a youthful president.
Yes.
And maybe I'm his minister of ICT or probably minister of youth or something. So that we can talk same language like my bro was saying.
Yeah.
You know, but in this case, we are limited. We are limited in terms of resources. The kind of resources that people are putting out here to campaign, it's 40, these are called old money from independent. The old money that they got during independence is what they're using right now. You see, is what they're using right now. And here I am from university. I've just graduated. How am I going to compete with them?
Yeah.
So the youth needs to be talked to and told that, hey, we are the majority. If we decide right now that we are going to vote a youth, we are going to vote a youth.
Okay. If you decide to go and vote as a youth, allow me to take a break at this particular point. We are still having a conversation. We have got Muthiora Kariara, youth. And by the way, talking about youth and politics, how is it going to become 2022? We are taking a short break. We'll be right back with more. Let's talk on social media. Tell me where you're watching from, and of course, what is your take on what we're talking about? We'll be right after this break. And welcome back. Still going on. This is Ion Politics. I have got three gentlemen, and by the way, they're still saying that the youths have a pivotal role to play come 2022. I don't know, what about you? Where are you watching from? What's your take on that? Are politicians taking advantage of this situation? And if anything, what can youths of this particular country do to shape the political landscape of Kenya come next general election? Let me just go to you, Martin. They've been saying that youth, you know, it's their time. But the question is, how are we going to make that change to be seen so that they say that if you are not on the menu, then
you're the menu.
You're the menu.
You're being eaten.
All right? So how is it going to be come 2022 so that youth can make their voices heard?
What I've been trying to say and what I'm advocating for is for the youth to ensure, throw yourselves in the ballot.
Yes.
Ensure you're there to be elected. Ensure that whenever, and it's not only in politics, so to say, in all roles in leadership, because at the end of the day, when we are looking for a chairman border, let us ensure the chairman border is a youth. If you're looking for a chairman in the market, let us ensure the chairman in the market is a youth. Because at the end of the day, all these positions matter. They all come and make sense at the end of the day. Because once the chairman in the market is a youth, that means the youth will get better slots in the market. Because we are now used to having, and I have nothing against old people, but a chairman border is 75 years old. He doesn't even have a motorbike, but he is still the chairman. You know, in the market, the chairman for the market is 60 years old.
Yeah.
He doesn't own a stall, but he is still the chairman of the market. He just comes with his mkwajo, loiters in the market slowly and then goes back home. Yet the people who are selling products are youth. If there is a committee for hawkers, let us have a youth as a chairman in the committee of hawkers.
Yeah.
In short, let us ensure that every position we are starting now to take it back. Yes.
Okay. Muthiora, do youths of this particular country have hope in themselves?
Kenyans youth have hope in themselves, and we've seen it through the way they've expressed themselves in past elections. We've seen it in the way the youth who have had opportunity have carried out the roles to which they were appointed. So what we need to do is to keep believing, to keep working hard, and whatever happens, let's not be hoodwinked so we give up future gains just because there are coins thrown currently.
Yeah.
Let us have our eyes firmly set on the big picture. And the big picture is one where we will fully invest in manufacturing and agriculture so that we can create the jobs that the Kenyan people need and want.
Yeah.
And when we have that kind of an investment, then we can be sure that we'll be raising a nation where its youth are people of integrity, people who do not have to beg to feed themselves, people who know that as long as they are willing to put in the work and the time, their sweat will pay. So that hope and optimism is there, and people are rising up to it. And I'm hoping that these aspirations are not crushed by processes that are not fair in the end.
Jerry, yes, there is hope for the youth, but there is something you touched about, that politics in Kenya is super expensive. And, talk of the posters, talk of the, your campaign team, talk of your, your publicity, talk of your media relations. There's just so much that goes beyond politics, not just going there and talking to the people. You'll have to have your security ready. You'll have to traverse the country. Whether it's just a ward, you'll have the logistics put in place. All these things put together, it's very expensive for the youth. Is this the situation where now politicians say that because the majority of people who are in this country is youth, but then now they are not able to get to this particular level where we are, so we are going to take advantage of the situation so that we can lead them. And by so doing, we give them promises.
Victor, there's nothing special being a youth. There's nothing special you being a youth. That now because you're a youth, let's elect you. Being a youth ni kama moshi angani. Peter.
It passes.
It passes. So today you are youth, tomorrow you are not. I think the conversation that we need to talk about is how can the Kenyan youth define their challenges?
Yes.
Once they define their challenges, then they can say, okay, fine, these are the challenges that we are facing. How can they be addressed? What we need is somebody to represent us by talking about our challenges on our behalf. But the problem is people tend to get into politics as a way of employment.
All right.
Which is wrong. And once you get, you're eyeing that position not as a way of serving the people. If you go there with conviction that you want to serve the people, then you're not going to feel the pinch even if you don't get that money. But if you go that you want to make money out of politics, I'm telling you, most of our MCAs right now, most of our politicians out there right now are broke. They are broke because there's a thing that they say, mkono mtupu haulambwi. So you come to me, or you go to visit somebody. You see, back in the days, it was that if you come to visit me, at least come with some packet of milk. If you come to visit me, come with a loaf of bread or something.
But right now it has changed.
But right now it's changed that
you come and visit me when you're going.
It's me to get you fare to go back. If I call for a meeting in my home, I'm calling them, but they know, oh, Jerry has called us. There must be something that he's willing to give us. You get? And these are put there categorically just to block the youth. Because let me ask you, you've talked of money and you've talked of how expensive politics is. You get into politics and you're told as a youth, first and foremost, pay 20,000 for nomination fee. Pay I don't know what monies. Pay I don't know what. There's so much money that you need to pay that people in the ground or on the ground don't see. For you, you are here running, trying to get your CRB clearance, HELB clearance, DCI clearance, nomination fee. All these are money. These are things that you're being told as a youth that if you don't do this, you can't. So you can run as much as you can. You can cause as much show that you can down there.
Yeah.
But there's somebody somewhere who is seated and saying, wacha Jerry akimbie, ntampata on these issues to do with nomination fee and other things. And the little that Jerry you have, you will be running up and down. And then the D-Day, that now you want to pay for this nomination fee and other, you don't have that money.
Okay.
And that's where you're being cut off.
Martin, Jerry is saying that most of the politicians, okay, as I put it, it's expensive, so to speak. Running a party for you to be a politician in this particular country is very, very expensive. It's not like any other position that somebody might go for, get elected or nominated, and you're good to go. But then now, he said that most politicians get into these positions because they want to get rich quicker. Is that so, Martin?
Basically, that is the truth. It is basically the truth that a lot of people see politics as an escape from poverty.
Yeah.
And that is why you find a politician gets into power and then five years later is having a motorcade of 5 V8, and and if you compare the ratio of salary to what they have as assets, it doesn't make sense. But at the end of the day, the bitter truth is politics is expensive, and there is no way we can run away from that. This is Africa, this is Kenya, and that's our business. But at the end of the day, if you are a serious youth and you think and you feel that you want to go into politics, I believe there are people back there at home who believe in you. You can set up a secretariat, and there are very many ways of running a campaign. And I don't know why there is that notion that you have to have chunks of money. We have seen the other member of parliament from Ukambani, the one was going door to door with a bicycle. How much did he use? And he was elected for member of parliament.
We also have Honorable Paul from Igembe.
Yes,
from Meru.
And they have been, and they are youth. And and he was doing his small campaign with a bicycle, but watu wa huko waliamini this is our leader and this is a youth and he can make it.
Okay, so Paul, let me just put it this way for you, Muthiora. Then what now should happen, at least for the youth of this particular country, feel that they are not only just being used by the politicians as voters, but they are also part and parcel of the process or democratic building of this particular country?
Those who have already been elected to office need to deliver on the promises they made to the people. Once these promises are met, then the Kenyan youth and the people at large will feel that their vote and participation in the process was not in vain. Otherwise, if the promises will remain just mere words, then often it will be that we are just small pawns being used in a bigger game where we stand to benefit nothing at the end of the day. That said, in 2022, we have an opportunity to have a clean slate. There'll be a regime change. A whole government is supposed to be going home because the ruling party Jubilee has crumbled, and it appears it will be exiting the stage, and so should everyone else that is associated with it, let alone those trying to jump ship right now. So the Kenyan youth and people at large should use that opportunity, not just to punish those in office today for the lies they told us, but to transform their lives. The vote is powerful. If you want to know just how powerful, take a drive across Nairobi. You will see that we have built nyumba ya ghorofa, hata kama si nyumba, across kilometers. That's how much power government has. It has transformed an environment, a physical environment that is that long. So if they were serious about creating a conducive environment for manufacturing and agriculture to thrive so that Kenyans can have jobs, they would deliver that, but it's not their priority.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Which is why we should change them.
Yes.
There is actually a quote that says that politicians should be changed frequently and for the same reason, just like we do diapers.
Wow.
So 2017 is that opportunity.
That's a new one.
Let's seize it.
Perhaps you can repeat that.
Well, Politicians are very much like diapers. They should be changed frequently and for the same reason.
Okay, let's just leave that as we absorb that one to Jerry. Jerry, are we seeing a situation where at one particular point in this country, you talk of the president, his deputy, the cabinet, you know, all the heads of parastatals and all those people are youth. Give me a picture of how that day will look like in this country.
Thank you so much, Victor. Victor, first and foremost, you see, we need to take stock of what have they done, these youthful leaders that we elected before.
Yeah.
You know, we have some youthful leaders. What kind of legislations have they put across in Parliament to ensure that these legislations are there specifically to support the youth? Some of them, we've never heard of them even speaking anything or saying even a word on behalf of the youth. We don't see them, we don't hear them, we don't know where they are, and we are wondering whether Martin is elected from Central and Jerry is elected from Siaya. When he gets there, he speaks on behalf of Kenyan youth.
Yes.
Not only his area. But you see, most of these guys that are, most of these youthful leaders that are there, we don't know what they're talking about. You know, it's only the old folks that speak. You know, there's no way you're going to tell me that you're going to speak on my behalf and you don't know what challenges I go through. But I expect the youthful leaders to share the kind of challenges that they went through. You know, so that if I say that I need tax holiday, that immediately I come from university, probably I'm not supposed to be pushed to pay the help immediately.
Yeah.
Get me some, you know, grace period for me to stabilize. You get, they will understand. But here they are. That's why we're saying that most of them, they go there to make money and to change their lifestyle. You've talked of some MP that was elected the other day.
Yes.
And he was going door to door and he was using bicycle and all that. What changed? Immediately he was using, you know, a bicycle, but he was given a V8 by the president, right?
Yes, yes.
And then everything changed. We don't see him frequently nowadays talking on behalf of the youth. And not that because if he speaks on frequently on media, then something's going to change. But it is said that if the news is not too big, then the person who is giving the news should be big.
Yes.
Here, these youth that have been elected, they are big compared to us who are not elected. So if they give the news, it will be much, you know, people will feel the weight of that news.
Yeah.
That, hey, these guys are pushing for ABCD as youth, you know, legislators, but we don't see them. So that's why we feel that youth are losing hope. We are losing hope from the youthful leaders that we elected. I don't think that I'm going to support Mheshimiwa that we are supposed to be changed every time. I'm not going for Sidindi Ward to be changed immediately. I'm going to Sidindi Ward to make a change in the lives of the people.
Yeah.
Not me being changed. You know, I'm going there expecting that I'm going to have a conversation with my people so that they can tell me what I'm supposed to do for them.
That sounds like a promise that each and every politician make during election cycle.
And they should be, they should perfect doing.
And that is why he said that politicians should be changed, just like, you know,
the diaper and whatnot.
Yes.
You know, politicians are not supposed to be changed. It is the politicians to change positively the lives of the people that elected them in those positions. So if I'm doing good thing, why should you change me? If I'm doing what I was elected to do and I'm changing the lives of my people positively, then why should you change me? You see, there are some areas, like for example in my constituency, Ugunja, my MP is called Honorable Pio Wandai.
Yes.
He's performed tremendously well. The first term, the second term, people are pushing him, go for the third term. And if you want to go for governor, we are going to give you because of his tremendous positive performance that he's done. So why should we change him? We're just saying that you've performed pretty well.
That sounds.
Let's elevate you to the next level.
That sounds like a free campaign. That sounds like a free campaign for honor.
And Victor, I would like to vehemently
He's been here on the show.
The statements by my fellow panelists there that can he please tell me what age category Samson Cherargei is? Or Mutula Kilonzo Jr. or the MP for Molo, or Gideon Keter, or Nixon Korir, or Johnson Sakaja, I could go on and on, who are members of parliament who have made tremendous impact in this parliament we have. They have brought bills, they have held leaders to account. I wonder what Kenya he lives in if he is not seeing the contribution that these young leaders have done. I would wish when we are vilifying people, we do it based on facts. And if you go to the Hansard and other parliamentary records, you will see that young parliamentarians, especially this time round, have made a very big contribution. Mgala muue, lakini haki yake mpe. So I would wish to defend their record because
that's fine, and we should encourage them. Mheshimiwa, that's fine. They've performed pretty well, and we should encourage them to perform even better. I'm not saying that they haven't done. What I'm saying is that we need to encourage. If the number of people that you've counted vis-a-vis the number of youth that we have in the house, both houses, you know, if they're performing the way you're saying that they perform best, then we should encourage them even to perform better, and even come out and say, here we are as youthful leaders, we are going to support Mheshimiwa for presidential, his presidential bid, so that we can have high bargaining power. It's not that we are saying that, hey, look, you've performed well, so we leave it at that.
Yes.
We are saying that, hey, look, you've performed better, so we want to put you to a next level.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Victor,
yes,
I beg to differ with the, both panelists and Mheshimiwa, because at the end of the day, these people have not made enough noise. You know, we are saying when you go and get to your comfort zone, you know, for example, we would be saying, yes, we have the Hansard reports where we have bills, but are those bills being felt on ground? You know, we are saying as a youth, it's okay, you passed a bill. I'll give an outright example, and it is not campaigning like he's doing for Mheshimiwa Pio and I. There's a gentleman by the name Zach Kenodia. He's the CAS.
Yes.
And when he was the CAS education, I did not look for Zach. I made a call, we met with Zach in his office, and we were able to open 3 new schools in Juja constituency. You see, that is the kind of youth we want advocating for. You see, he brought himself to Juja. You see, but when we say that they have done Hansard reports, you know, I have nothing against them, the kinds of Mheshimiwa Sakaja. But since you got to power, what have you done that can be felt? What law have you passed that has a good ripple effect? You know, like BBI had the issue of the HELB loan being extended, you know, and the tax holidays. Have they done that for us? Yet they're in parliament.
Absolutely. Actually, there's that
something that we can hold tangible. You know, even if you go and pass bills and you know, and take photos in parliament, you're not helping us. We want to hear that noise that they are making for the youth, and the ripple effect should be felt on ground, not in Hansard.
Victor, just to put it,
go ahead.
There's this issue of unemployment that affect the youth, but one of the biggest,
and that is one of the biggest factors that most of the politicians are riding on.
And one of the biggest industry that employ the youth at the moment is the border industry.
Yes.
Right now we are having the issue of fuel in parliament. How are these youthful leaders coming out to support you know, for us to push down the fuel prices downward? You know, how? So that we can say that because a huge number of youth are being in the border industry and they're being affected, let's reduce these prices. What are they talking about? We're not seeing them coming out to support us in that regard. So the thing is, we're not saying that the youthful leaders have not done much, but like he's putting it outward, that yes, they've done that, but are we feeling it? Is this something that affects me as a youth directly, or is this something that elevates him to sit in the high table with those people who are oppressing us as youth?
All right, okay. So, gentlemen, we are almost coming to the end, running out of time. I want to give you 1 minute each, because the fact is we are going to talk about youth and politics for a very long time to come. Just 1 year to the polls. Starting with you, Muthiora, as a youthful candidate going for that political seat, in 1 minute perhaps, what do you tell your fellow youth in this particular country?
We have a mass voter registration exercise that's about to commence. If you're not registered as a voter in Kenya, please, I'm urging you to seize this opportunity and register. Know that there is a lot of power in your vote. Your vote represents your aspirations when you cast it right, because the leader who comes to execute on whatever plans that they promise you will determine what the next generation will be like.
Right.
So seize the opportunity we have, register, participate in the political processes that are right now unraveling. Do not wait to be told. Reach out. If you have information, please share it. Join a political party.
Yes.
Join an organizing committee for a candidate. And please preach peace. Because without peace, we cannot have development. And development is what will create the jobs that we need so we can live in dignity.
Thank you. Jerry, Sidindi is watching. Go for it.
Sidindi is a special ward, a small special ward that if you go to areas like Uhui, Sikalame, Muthiora, those are agricultural kind of places.
Yes.
That if well tapped, then we can have a bread basket from Muthiora and Sikalame in those areas that can eventually be, the food product can be taken to schools at subsidized prices, and it can provide jobs for the young people down there. So I'll just emphasize on what Mheshimiwa said, that as youth from Sidindi, as youth from the entire Kenya, we need to take our role seriously by first and foremost registering as voters and participating and having the conversation that our voice must be heard. Nothing is going to be discussed on this table about us if we are not involved. We must be involved in every discussion, in regardless whether we are elected or not. Our voices must be heard, and we must be seen. And we can only be seen and heard if we have power in our hand, and the power in our hand is the voting. Let's not have the vote in our hand, and during that day of voting, we sit somewhere watching football, or we sit somewhere, you know, discussing, or sometimes even the border. Our job is to crisscross across the world or across the country, transporting people left and right, and we fail to vote. These same challenges will wake up in the morning, the same challenge is going to be staring at us. So let's have a situation where we converse and say, this time round, let the change that we're talking about for the longest time be felt because of our participation that we're participating.
And you, finally, with you, Martin.
What I would like to tell the youth is that we hold a lot of power. And as a youth, unless we realize and go for our power, we'll continue being oppressed. However, being a youth is not disability. So we should not expect to have it as a clean slate because we are basically youth. And that is why we are saying that if we start engaging these people, asking questions, going for those positions I've been talking about, whether it is the chairman, border, chairman in the market, let us hold all these positions. And that is why I'm happy that we have young, youthful people like Karongo Athangwa is saying he wants to vie for Senator Kiambu. Let us have such people in such age brackets to come up. That is why I'm also going for the Juja parliamentary seat.
Director, did you hear that? An invoice. He's just declared his candidature live on.
All right.
Okay.
I have carried my checkbook. So,
wow.
At the end of the day, I think we should go for this position so that at least we can have one voice and we can be able to recapture what has always been ours. However, I don't believe I am a diaper. I don't know.
Mheshimiwa was talking about some diapers.
I don't want to be changed anytime soon.
You're being fired on this end. They're saying they're not diapers. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. It's an absolute pleasure talking to the youthful minds of this particular country. But one thing that we have to agree on from all of them is that youth, we have got a voice. That vote is quite important, and they're saying that you must make your voice be heard. You're not going to be involved in that discussion if you're not going to have something tangible that you're also going to present on the table. Thank you so much for watching. For those people who've been watching across the globe, my name is Victor Lowe. We are taking just a very short break, and when we come back, Good Morning Kenya still continues. And for our panelists, thank you so much, and you as a viewer for watching.